Hello, everyone. Happy Monday. Hopefully, everybody's doing great. Thank you for being on our weekly meeting with our Learn group. Kara, thank you for making the time and taking the effort of putting this meeting together. Irina, thank you very much for being here. Love you both. We're missing one more partner here with us, but we're ready to get started and pay close attention to what Kara has brought for us today. So, Kara, the floor is yours.
Excellent. I'm so excited. So we're talking about knowledge today because knowledge is power. I mean, that's just fact, right? Like, think about something that you could talk on, that you could just immediately get in front of everybody and talk for 10 minutes on, like whatever topic that is. You feel immediately powerful about your knowledge. You feel like, I got this, right? When we know something. But the thing about knowing, right, is you don't know until you know. And even when you know, you might not use it because knowledge itself is not actually the transformation. It's just the knowledge part. What did that bring up, Johnny? Tell me.
I was just going to say that is so important. When you think you know, because that's the reality, when you think you know, you're still at 0.0001%. And it's so important to, when you are on the learning process, one, like I always say, make sure you have a mentor.
Yes.
Make sure you have a professional holding you by the hand. And I'm saying holding you by the hand figuratively because it's not their job. Their job is to guide you. But when I say holding you by the hand is that you're actually listening. There's so many people that say, but I'm doing exactly that. And we on the opposite end, we're seeing something completely different. And it's so important to listen and be willing to be coachable.
Yeah, that false sense of power, right? Like, so I got this when I literally have no idea and totally don't though. But I think I do. And golly, isn't that kind of power dangerous?
Oh, yeah.
Irina, what's that bring up for you?
You know what? It just gave me so many insights. First of all, saying that the more we know, the more we understand how much we still don't know. Mm-hmm. And another thing is, I always teach my clients as well as I'm coming with the same strategy. Always, even if you know something about the subject, always give yourself that open mind. Look at this information as this is the first time you're hearing, like have the beginner's mind for everything, because each time you hear something, it's gonna land on a different level. Even the same information, it always lands differently because we are in a different state of conscious each time. And that's why, like when we say we know it, so don't ignore the fact that I'm still learning, because that's what this is all about. And like Johnny mentioned, yes, it's so important to have mentor or the coach, because all successful people have this kind of support. That's how they become more successful. So let's not deny this fact. And if somebody is still in a doubt, this is the true fact.
Mm-hmm. Yes. So much so to that point that both of you made. So it's better with a buddy, right? With my toddler, in all of the songs and things that we watch, educational videos, one of the things that always comes up in the song or the lesson is, now go share this with a friend, because it's better with a buddy. If you hear a piece of information within about a week, they assume 90% of that information is now gone from your brain, replaced by whatever new things you're ingesting. However, you can actually retain 90% of it if you go teach it to somebody else. So literally saying, hey, I heard this cool thing. Knowledge is not transformation. That takes repetition to build retention. And simply going and saying that to somebody else locks it in your brain. So instead of only keeping 10% of that knowledge, you're going to get knowledge is not transformation. You'll create 90% of it. Mm-hmm. What times has that happened in your life, Johnny? Tell me.
In my life, I see it every day because, as you know, I teach dancing. And it's amazing because I put my students in the whole thing of, please show me what you understood from this move or from this technique. And just like you said, they will remember just a very small portion of everything I said. Just the other day, we went to a social event, a dancing social event, and some of my students decided to go as well. So I decided to just sit down and watch, because the only way of knowing if they're getting technique down is by watching it, seeing what they're doing with their hands, with their feet, with everything. And I noticed then at that point that in the classroom they were being conscious and doing it. But the second they got thrown into a real life situation, it's over. It's literally over. So I cover exactly that 2 weeks ago with them. I'm like, guys, I saw you dancing. Good job improving, but technique has to come back. It's what makes dancing beautiful. It's what makes dancing an art. And I see it also with my digital marketing clients. I teach them one thing because I'm all about education.
Yes.
And then when they try to do it or something, I see they only retain a little bit. So I agree with you 1,000%. Teaching it to somebody else helps you learn, helps you 1,000% to learn. But be really mindful to teach it right. Please.
Oh, that's a good point. Yeah. Yeah. Because so easy if you're sharing shared information, right? It's like the game. Did you guys ever play the telephone game? Like one person whispers in the ear, Sarah likes cactuses, and by the other end, it's Susan likes kumquats, and you're like, what? No, that wasn't it.
Yes.
Yeah, I do remember this game from the childhood.
Yeah, we've actually done that game with moves. So everybody's, everybody's facing one way. So the first person will tap the other person. The person will make the move, and we'll try to replicate. And from the beginning till the end, it's a complete different move.
Yeah. Irina, how about for you?
You know what I'm thinking about? It's like you said, when we are taking the information in, whether we are watching something or reading something or listening to something, it lands at one level, but when we speak it out to somebody else, it's like you get more understanding and more depth of it. And I'm thinking it's all because the way our neural paths work in the brain. Same thing, like why they say to journalize, right? Like why it's not enough just to hear or to see or to read. It's very important to journalize because you do create all these different neuron paths in order for you to think creatively, to look at something at the same situation and find that perfect path for yourself.
Yes. Levels. I love that you brought levels into it, because that's like exactly how knowledge works, right? There's like the base level, like I know how to walk. Cool. But then you level up and now you know how to run. And then you know how to walk starting on your left foot. And then you know how to run starting on your left foot. Then you know how to turn on your left foot. And every step it's the same knowing, but leveled up, right? Go, Johnny, what?
And that brings me to my next thing. People forget that before they knew how to walk, they had to crawl. And they forgot that learning how to crawl and then standing, holding something, took them several tries. It wasn't done on the first try. Why do I say that? Many of the people that I work with, many of the clients that I work with, they want to run. They literally want to run. They don't, like, I have people that come up to me and tell me, and this has become even more frequent. At the beginning, it was bothering me. And now that I understand where they're coming from, I'm like, okay, I understand where you're coming from. But at the beginning, it was like, oh, I should be able to dance like you within, what, a month? And I'm like, it's been 10 years in the making. And I'm still not at the level that I would love to be at. So I don't know what to tell you. Same thing in life. It's repetition, repetition. A lot of people tell me, and this is truth. When I started dancing, I had two left feet. One of them was deaf, and the other one just didn't want to listen.
That's a good one.
Seriously, most people take between 1 to 3 months to pass level 1 dancing. It took me a year and a half. It took me 3 times what normally would take to. All right, and I'm a musician. I play 14 instruments. It should have been like,
Not like you didn't get the rhythm.
no. It's just that it was all in my hands. I had to transfer some to the feet. And that's the one thing that a lot of people quit. The second that they know that is a repetition kind of situation, that's when they quit.
Yeah. And that's how, so back to knowledge. Yeah, we all know. We've known since we literally learned how to walk from crawling that it takes failure. That's how knowledge, that's how you lock those things. You figure out what not to do. What did Edison say? He learned how to make, he has 501 ways not to make a light bulb before he got to the way to make a light bulb, right? But we know that, and we don't just know that, but we like know that, right? Like everybody's like, yeah, duh, obviously failure is how you learn. We've known that our entire life, and yet the moment we fail, we're like, I'll never learn this. I'm worthless. How has anybody spent time with me? And we go into this cycle of like, how do we know? But we don't know, you know?
Yep.
Irina, what's that bring up to you?
Yeah, it's so true. It's just like, a lot of people are saying, oh, I know about all these, ideas. Like I'm talking about manifestation. Oh, I've read it. I've seen it. I know it. And I said, you don't really know it, because if you knew, you would be living that life already. So it's one thing when you know, and it's another thing when you're living and you are experiencing the results that actually based on the knowledge that you have. So it's two different things. And like you mentioned, you're right with the babies, right? Because being babies, we all take our sweet time to learn how to walk, right? We never quit on ourselves. We never just, try a few times and said, you know what, I guess I was not meant to be a walker. We keep trying until we succeeded. But when we became adults, something happened to us. Like we are so afraid to fail. And sometimes even if we know that we are gonna fail, we don't have that perseverance. We don't have that, discipline of, picking ourselves up and trying again. A lot of people just want so fast the results, but everything requires the time and the patience and the trust that the process is working. Just keep walking and you definitely are gonna hit that destination. But you have to keep walking. You have to keep doing this.
Yes.
And that is true. I want to interject just real quick on this one, because society has put the pressure that if you don't do things right the first time, you're a failure. Yeah. You're a bad person. Yeah. You're dumb. And it's such the contrary. The more times you take to have the courage of forcing yourself on something that you did not want to do in the first place because you really desire the outcome, and the more times you fail, and I don't like calling it fail because it's truly, I look at it as a book. It's another page in your book that is just gonna get you to do better. It's gonna get you to realign with your purpose and really make sure that you like your purpose, where you're going, what's your journey. So please, I tell my daughter all the time, fail as often as you can. Daddy is here that if you fall, it's gonna hold you, pick you back up, dust you off, and if I have to walk with you, I'll walk with you.
Love it.
Oh. Yeah. I mean, so that's it. The whole conversation right there between you two in a nutshell, right? Like, so when you are doing, I call it toddler time because I have a toddler, so that just works. But I use the same concept in my business. I use it with my clients. Every time, if you want to be able to succeed, the first step is to slow down and pay attention to what you are doing.
Please repeat that one.
And the second step is when you fail, because you're going to, period. Like I'm so sorry to anyone listening if that was not something you were previously aware of, but you are going to fail. You're going to fail a lot in this life. But here's the thing that I wish I could just make people know. If I could just give you these words and you were like, yep, and then this was forever your reality. Just because you have failed does not mean that you are a failure. Just because you have failed doesn't mean you are failed. Yeah, small difference, but huge, huge. And then worst case scenario, like we said from the beginning, get it better with a buddy. Dad's there. He's not going to let you fall, right? Like whoever your buddy is, you're gonna fail, but you don't have to get up alone. Yeah. Okay. I'm going to share a picture.
All right.
Boom, 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 boom. Because one of the other things that I learned in doing all of this in my life is images help. Boom.
Absolutely.
So retention rate, as we are speaking about how knowledge is power, please go get knowledge. It is empowering. It's important. Do it. But knowledge is not transformation. That's going to take the repetition, the action and the reflection to repeat over and over again, right? So there are some hacks though. So listening to this, if you're just driving along in your car and listening to this, next week you'll retain about 5% of it. So hopefully you got one great takeaway. If the only takeaway that you get from this is just because I fail does not mean I am a failure. I'm like, I'll figure this is a win. But if you are also captioning this and with the subtitles running, well, you're going to retain 10% of that. Oh, and now I put a picture on. We up to 20% now because you can see it, right? And in demonstrating it, I've attached another 30, like I'm 30%. Because we did a group discussion, the three of us and anybody listening, a part of that, whatever comes up for you, if you're coming up with stuff, put it in the comments, be a part of that discussion. Because now we're retaining 50% of this conversation. And practice, like we said, all of that, slow it down to toddler time, think about it again, write it on a wall, whatever it is, practice that. You're gonna have about 75%. But when we say, guys, when we say it is better with a buddy, like this is why coaching is impactful. This is why you get a coach for your soccer, for your dancing, for your leadership, for your life, anywhere you want success. Having somebody with you to slow it down, be there as you fail to support you through that, and that you can teach things too. If you can actively learn by teaching it to someone else, go share this information with somebody else, you retain 90% of it. Irina was saying it, it's the neural pathways, right? Because if you are taking information in, it's creating one pathway. And then you're rehearsing it. So that's another pathway. But now we're sharing it. Oh, it's a whole nother pathway. You're literally carving that knowledge into your brain. It's flipping cool, guys. So thinking on that, I'm going to go to Irina first. What did that bring up for you today?
Oh my gosh, I just love that. I'm all visual and audio. That's exactly how the retention rate for me is the best. And obviously, blah, blah, blah. When we are discussing and talking and having good conversation, I think nothing could really compare to the good conversation, because that's exactly when you get the insights. That's exactly when you could actually express yourself and also hear everybody else's opinion. I love it, love it, love it. And like I said, teaching to others. Each time I'm teaching the lessons to my clients, I learn exactly with them, because I come also with that open mind that not only I'm there as a teacher, but I'm also there as a student, because they have something else to teach me as well.
Yes, every time. Yeah,
every time.
And I love that you brought up the different styles of learning. Like, you know, you're a visual audio learner. Like, knowing how your learning style, use all of the learning styles. Don't, just because you have a style, don't get locked into that. But knowing that means that you can retain so much more by giving yourself those bonuses, getting that visual in there, having that discussion with somebody. Yes. Yes. What about you, Johnny?
For me, it's the same thing. I would have to agree with you. You have to figure out which one is your learning style. For me, it's audio and actually hands-on. It's not as much a visual. It's audio and hands-on.
I'm kinetic. Yeah. Yeah.
If I cannot do it myself and break it down, because somehow in my brain I need to break it down. I need to digest it, and the only way that I can digest it is by touching it, doing it, and it's so necessary. And like you said, once you figure out your learning style, still use the other ones. Don't limit yourself that, oh, this is the only way that I learn. No. One thing that I've noticed, because there are certain books that I'm in love with or infatuated with, and I have read them several times. Every time I'm learning, I don't know, there's one book that I have somewhere around here that if you see, it has a red highlight, a yellow highlight, a green highlight, because each highlight means something to me. But there's certain sentences that have like all 5 colors, and it's like and it's because, just like Irina mentioned, at different stages of life you would understand certain things one way, and on the next stage you learn it another way.
Yeah, it all comes down to the level of awareness, right? We always grow our awareness throughout the entire life. Woohoo!
Mm-hmm.
Yes. Okay, practical tool time, right? Because now we've clarified what knowledge is. We've assessed the different ways that we can absorb it, but I like practical skills, so that's my favorite way to do it. So realigning around how the hell do we actually make any of this knowledge stick, right?
Mm-hmm.
Tell, show, do. This is all of the learning styles combined in one. So if you can follow this process for anything that you're doing, you're going to retain it faster, longer, and easier. So first, you have somebody tell you what it is. I'm going to tell you how to do the dance move. I'm going to tell you about mindfulness. I'm going to tell you a thing, right? Then I want you to show me it. Like, so now you do that. Now show me the dance move. Now show me it, like, be still and hold that mindful space, okay? And then we're going to do it together one more time. So I'm going to teach you, you're going to teach me, and then we're going to do it together. Tell, show, do. What's that bring up? Johnny's nodding. Talk to me, Johnny. What you got?
That's exactly what I do in the classroom, because it's sometimes a little itsy bitsy little piece of knowledge makes the whole move work. Believe it or not, when I'm teaching bachata, this is the dumbest thing, because you just open the lady's arm and then you close it. But a lot of ladies, when they're learning this move, they have their elbows like pointed all the way away from the guy or something like that. And when they do turns, they don't feel pretty. They're like, yeah, I did the turn, but I didn't feel pretty. I didn't. And I'm like, all you have to do, literally, and point your elbow towards your partner, flip your wrist, and then push with your wrist forward, and now do the turn. They do those 2 changes, and the move is like they were professionals. And they're like, oh my God, I've been bouncing from dance school to dance school. Why nobody told me that?
It's always the little things. And guys, anybody listening now, later, it's always the little things. We get so caught up in thinking it's the turn. It's this big thing that I have to handle, when in reality, it's usually like the teeniest little tweak. And then you're like, oh, look, it worked. Like Edison and his light bulb. Didn't work. One little switch. What if I turn the filament upside down? Oh! It worked.
Mm-hmm.
Irina, what's that bring up for you?
Yeah, it's the same. Like we were talking about failures, right? It's not the failure, it's just the feedback. It's just whatever we tried before, it didn't work. It means, okay, this way it doesn't work. Now let me try it another way. So that's the whole idea behind it, right? Failure is not anything but the feedback.
It is.
And obviously we are so creative, we are always like having our own paths. Like I say to my client, there is no, one size fits all. That's the beauty of this work. When we are working on ourselves, we are the ones that creating the pathway for ourselves. And that's the beauty of it. We become more creative. We are becoming these kind of thinkers that thinking outside of the box. We are not going with the manual, right, anymore. We are the ones creating it. And I just love that process. And obviously, like when I experience working with the people, and for myself, when I work with the mentors, it's audios, it's journalizing, and now go to the class and have it reinforced again, the concept, having the discussion, right? And then also have the life work where you actually implement what you learn into the practice. Because if we don't implement it into our life, how good is that?
Yes. So that's a perspective thing, right? Like, so a lot of what we've been talking about. So it can look like you're just spiraling, right? And that's what it looks like on a flat screen, but you change that perspective and you're not spiraling, you're climbing.
You're upwards.
Yeah. Yes, you're going to do it again. And you're going to do it again. And you're going to do it again. But each time it's a new level. It's a new depth. It's a new, you don't know until you know, but even when you know, then you're like, oh, but now I know. And then the next time it comes up, you're like, no. This time I've got it though. This time I know it. And then it comes up again. You're like, okay, this is the one. And that's just going to keep happening on the good ones.
That's the beauty of it and fun of it, right? Like you're saying, we are all in the spiral, and even our universe is spiral. Our DNA is spiral. So there is so much in spiral shape that there is some kind of connection if we think about it, right?
Yes. Literally, we're designed for this. Yes. What do you think, Johnny?
Yeah, I agree with you. And I also agree that, like Irina said, you can take a lot of knowledge and don't do anything with it. And it's like when you go to those Anthony Robbins kind of seminars and you go, oh my God, I had such a spiritual awakening. That was so deep. And next day you just woke up like nothing happened. It's like, seriously?
Yeah. Because you're only doing one thing. Go ahead. Go, Irina, go.
You know why? Because inspiration without the action is merely the entertainment. And that's what happened for majority of people. They all got so excited, all charged up, but if they're not ready to step forward and start really doing something about it, getting enrolled into the professional classes, getting somebody, like a body that they are going to be doing something, it's always going to be a waste. Because if we imagine things, yes, it's important to imagine things, but if we are not acting on them, it's going to be still imagination. Nothing is going to move the needle.
You got to do, you got to be, you got to do, you got to be. Sinatra had it right the whole time. Doobie doobie doo.
Yeah, I love Sinatra.
It's such a dork. So we're wrapping it up. This was brilliant. So knowledge is power. Seek knowledge, go for knowledge, find it, dive into every rabbit hole you can, but recognize that knowledge, while powerful, can sometimes present a false sense of power because you don't know until you know, and you still might do it even if you not do it, even when you know, because knowledge is not transformation. That's going to take that action, that reflection, that repetition. Thinking about Johnny in dance class, I know when I learn a new dance move, I start with my feet. Like I got to get my feet worked down. Once I got, then I can add my hands. But if I don't start doing hands and feet together, I'm never going to get the move. It requires all the levels so that we can really retain that. Final thoughts, my friends.
Everybody at once?
It just reminded me, about dancing. My daughter does the Latin ballroom dance since she was 4. It's my dream and her. I always wanted to do the Latin dance, but I ended up doing modern dance because I never had the partner. And thanks God she had a partner. But the thing is, that teacher was the most amazing teacher that she had, because she was working on technique. And my daughter would complain all the time. She's like, we go for the competition. Look at these couples. They are doing so many different, dance moves. And we are like stuck with one. But I said, look at the cleanliness, at clean, moves that they're making. Everything is sloppy. Everything is not like really looking nice on the floor. But with you guys, you have the basic, but it's so clean, because you worked on it over and over and over again. So that's the whole beauty. It's the same with the transformation. You work on it. It's repetition. It's like constant understanding that I'm not, overdoing it. I am at the right moment, at the right time.
Mm-hmm.
And it's the process. It's like the art and the science of it. And there is a process, and you know that it's going to take time. You know that it's going to take the persistence. You know that it's going to take patience, but trust the process. And that's when you see the results.
Yes, I agree. And I love the approach that you just mentioned. Is a science and is an art, because it's the same thing no matter what you do. There's an art and and they go hand in hand.
Mm-hmm.
They go hand in hand. Once people can understand that you have to master the basics before you can actually put everything together into the art process, because the art is nothing more and nothing less than showcasing the real knowledge that you got. That's the art.
Yes.
So true.
Oh my God. So I use that all the time, and I've never phrased it that way. So I say it's the difference between STEM and STEAM, right? So STEM is foundational. It is the stem, it is the root, is the core, but you don't get any power until you add the arts, and then you get STEAM power. And
how beautiful. Love it.
Yep.
Yay.
Yes. Well, thank you,
I got some knowledge too today.
Yes. So hopefully we shared some knowledge with everybody. Ideally, you got at least one takeaway. Look, if it's only, let's do a round of takeaways. I'm gonna start. If all you heard from me today is, when I fail, I am not a failure, then it's a win. Irina, what do you want them to remember for you?
There is an art and science in everything we do. Trust the process, believe in yourself, take small baby steps, because baby steps are going to take you to the Mountain Everest.
There's art in the science. Yes. Johnny.
And for me, I want you to remember this, because this is the one part that I truly remember from one of my mentors. I don't remember from which one of all that I heard this, but when you see the pie, which is life or whatever is your endeavor, eat the crust first.
I like that.
Because the feeling, the sweet, and all the mushy goodness that is in between it, you're going to get to eat it as long as you eat the crust first.
Yes.
That repetition, that trial and error that you're going to go through, please enjoy every single minute of it. And you may say, John, you might be nuts. Why are you telling me to enjoy something that makes me feel like I did not do good? I say enjoy it, because that's what's going to get you, not from good, it's going to get you from good to great.
Yeah. Oh my God, I love that. There is art in the science. Eat that crust first, because when we fail, it's not that we are failures. It's just that it was a failure.
Mm-hmm.
Brilliant. Thank you so much, everyone who is listening now and who is listening later. We will see you next Monday for some more learning.
Absolutely. Everybody, love you all. Lovely ladies, thank you very much for being here. And happy Monday to everyone.
Have a beautiful week.